Hey y'all, what is up? Welcome to the first official Tidbits and Scribbles, part of the Rising Tide Network, where you're gonna find great shows like Clever Title Pending, Never Mind the Furthermore with Brian K. Morris, or Creative as Hale with Amy Hale, or TED Talks with Ted Davies Artistry, or the Historical Fencing Guild with Nicholas Anthony Tucker, where you can learn to kill people safely. Awesome stuff, right? Okay, so let's get right into it. The first thing I wanted to cover was the show don't tell. If you've been in the writing community any length of time, even a smidgen, you have heard show don't tell. But that's all they tell you. They don't tell you bupkis about what it is, or how to fix it, or what they're looking for. So I'm here, I'm gonna show you, I got you, okay? All right, here we go. So, first we gotta know what it is, right? Basically, you want to let your reader discover what it's like rather than tell them what it's like. You're not sitting around a campfire telling a story of what happened last Saturday. You want to let them feel it. You want to let them live in your story. So, things like Sally saw Timmy. You're telling me. Don't tell me, show me, okay? So that's what it is. So understand why it's important. Because you want to guide your reader more like a journey and let their imagination take over. One of the best examples I ever heard of this, and of course it wasn't until my first book was out, back there, Warrior Secret, my sister-in-law says to me, "That's not what I pictured Hawk to look like." What do you mean? And I thought about it a minute, and I hadn't really either. That's not really the image I had in my mind of what he looked like. Another thing that blew my mind, I said to my girls who are teenagers what I thought my secondary character looked like. They had a whole nother description of him, completely off base of what I thought he should look like. But I didn't describe him enough to nail down a certain character or character flaw. So they were able to build a character in their mind without me telling them exactly what that character looked like. So that's a big part of it. Let your reader go on that journey. Let them experience it their way, because everyone experiences every single thing differently than the next person. Okay, so our next point. Identify effective show and don't tell examples. Here we go. Here's with the I saw Sally. Instead, you could say, Sally stood on her porch. That's better, but it's still not as good as it could be. You could say, from across the street, Sally called my name. Okay, now we've got, oh, we're friends, or at least acquaintances. So we know that you and Sally know each other from one sentence that you restructured. Okay, you could also say, from across the street, Sally called my name, or yelled my name, or screamed my name. Now we've got different things going on. Or you could say, from underneath her porch roof, Sally called my name. Or any of these adjectives and adverbs, get them in there, add them to your sentence. It's gonna make it more of a picture for your reader to assume whatever it is they're going to assume. Because from the first sentence, we can assume that Sally and her know each other. We don't know if they're friends, but they know each other enough to know each other's names. Maybe they're neighbors, but we gotta read further to find out. So now, let's learn why we do that show, don't tell thing. In my personal opinion, it's a cop-out. It's easier. I do it a lot when I'm trying to rush through writing a story. I know where I want the story to go, but I don't know the details. So I'll catch myself doing the Hawk walked over here. Cassidy and Hawk went to dinner. Gareth and Hawk had a conversation. And I'll skip it and go to something else that is more fresh in my mind and the details are more vivid. When I go back, I've made the transition, but I haven't at all. I'm not going to send a book out looking like that, or with just a sentence that they went to dinner, or a battle happened. It's not descriptive at all, and it's not going to happen in my books. I want the reader to see the battle. I want the reader to feel like they're in the battle. So not only am I going to say a battle happened, I'm going to say, from Hawk's point of view, his heartbeat sped up. His adrenaline was pumping. There's many different things you could say in each different sentence. And if you want, let me know in the comments and we can go over a paragraph or two of yours that you're struggling with. You're not quite sure what it means to show don't tell or how you could make it better. Let me know in the comments below and we'll work on it. So the next thing is, employ some strategies that work. Strengthen your verbs and your nouns. Describe your settings. If you need to, close your eyes and picture the setting. Does it smell a certain way? Is it raining and you can feel the rain on your skin? Is it snowing and it's cold and you're wearing a parka? Or you don't have a parka and it's cold and it's snowing? Describe how you would feel in that situation. Not that it's snowing. Tell me that you're freezing, that you've been in this snow for 5 hours and you're about to die from frostbite. Explain it. So use all of your senses. Focus on action. What's happening? Use visual clues like storm clouds rolling in. You know something's going to happen. Is it going to be a rainstorm? Is it a snowstorm? Is it a hurricane because you're down in Florida? Explain these things. There's not really a set rule. Like, I can't show you a sentence from this book and make it exactly for your book. That's plagiarism. So I can't, without knowing what it is that you are struggling with, exactly the exact sentence, no one is ever going to be able to help you make that sentence perfect. It falls on you to figure it out, to describe what it is you want me to see. And that doesn't mean that you have to describe it down to the minute detail of his hair was long, black, and flowing in the breeze, because there was always some sort of breeze. It doesn't mean that you have to describe that he was chiseled, fit. He worked out 6 days a week. If he works out 6 days a week, I'm gonna know, because all of the reactions that people have to him will be a certain way. If he's 7 foot tall, he's gonna duck going through doorways. If a couple gets together and the guy is a lot taller than the girl, you might say she only came up to his chest. You might say he always had to look down and always saw the top of her head. You might say he walked a lot faster than she did, so she had to run to keep up. All of those clues are going to tell your reader that this guy's tall, this guy's got long legs. All of these little nuances that you wouldn't think of are bringing your reader deeper. They are letting your reader, here's a clue, here's another one, oh, here's another one. I never once said what color Hawk's eyes were. I think I mentioned his hair color, but it's vague. It's you let your reader pick their hero, basically. And some readers, even if you describe that your hero down to the minute detail, they will still come to you with what they thought the hero looked like. Because in their mind, they're in the story. They're living it. They're not just reading it. And that's what you want. You want that reader to live it. Because then, at the end of your book, they've closed the book. It's done, right? Now what? If you've hooked them enough, and if you've done this show don't tell enough in your book, they'll go back and read it again after they've relived it in their mind a few times. Because a good book will live with you like that. I still remember the title and the author of books that I read years ago. I can't remember where I put my car keys tonight when I came home. That's how good those books are. Because they're not good as like, oh, they get Nobel Peace Prizes kind of good. They're good like they bring you in and they let you live the story. Let me live it. Show me this. Show me the story. Show me what's happening to the character I'm living through. If you're telling it from a woman's perspective, either be a woman telling it or ask a woman. We've seen too many examples of men writing women that they just don't get it. And then there's examples of men exactly the opposite. They write a woman character and they get it. They nail it. Where some of us women don't get it. There's all these little nuances that go into show, don't tell. So it's more of honing your craft, taking your time, and really delving deep and making sure that your reader goes on a journey rather than, here's the story I told you around the campfire. Okay, great, but that's a story. I'm not going to remember it. I don't care. I'm not invested in the characters. And that's what you want. You want them invested in your characters. You want them invested in the story. And you want them to come back and want more stories and read next time. And where does that character go next? They don't care if they're not in the story. If they're in the story, they want to know, where's the character go next? Do they marry? Do they have kids? Where does their life take them? Do they have friends? Where do their friends' lives take them? When your readers are asking you for secondary characters' lives to be written, you know you've done your job. You know you've done it when the reader comes to you and says, what happens to his best friend? You may not have even thought that. But because you've made your reader or helped your reader go along on this journey, they feel like they're in it. They're part of it. They want to live the story too. One of the best compliments a friend of mine got was she had a reader tell her that her villain scared her. That's amazing. Her villain is a secondary character. But that secondary character was written so well that it scared the reader. That's what you want. You want that, either it's fear or excitement, or you want them to fall in love with your hero, and they want another hero, and they want to fall in love with that one, and you want the emotion. You don't want the, I read a story, because you read stories every day on your phone, on the newspaper, if you still do that. But those are stories that you just read. Novels, even comic books, you want someone to be delved into your story. You want them living it with your characters. You want it replaying in their mind, which is why show don't tell is so dang important. So like I said, if you've got more comments, you've got questions, put them in the comments below. I check those all the time. And I can go over and do another video. I can talk with you one-on-one. Let's figure it out. Let's make your stories freaking awesome. And until then, I'll catch you on the flip-flop.